Hello and welcome. My name is Ruth LeMay, and today we're going to be looking at what does equal access really look like. It's my pleasure to be presenting to you for the second time for the MSBA. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to be looking at a variety of things related to guitar education. First, we're going to look at what does it really cost? What is the funding behind a comprehensive guitar program? What is the philosophy of inclusion? What are the vital components in an inclusive music program? What are the neurological connections to music? If you've had a chance to preview the videos that I suggested before this, I'm sure you've found it absolutely fascinating. If not, please make sure to take those in at some point at your convenience. How to connect to underrepresented student populations. Our courses and authentic assessment. And finally, what does adaptive music education look like? And of course, a video sampling of our student work. So for many reasons, including it's important to include guitar programs in every school. We know that instrumental music increases your executive functioning. This is going to absolutely raise our test scores, hopefully involve student engagement at a higher rate. The other thing that guitar education often provides is an entry level into music, into instrumental music at the high school level. Guitar brings cultural relevancy because of the variety of genres that guitar incorporates. Its connection to students is extremely powerful. We have the potential to increase our people of color in the performing arts. And we have the potential to decrease the achievement gap with a cost-effective program. So let's look. Really, a cost of a complete guitar program is somewhere between $10,000 and $11,000. Get connected with your local music store. They would be happy to work with you and your students as your program grows. What does that all include? But it includes a classroom set of nylon string guitars, a drum set, 2 electric guitars and a bass guitar and all their amps, 2 keyboard synthesizers with amps and stands, a sound system with 2 microphones, adapted instruments for Guitar Unlocked program that's going to reach our special needs students, instruction booklets for students and the educator, membership in the Austin Guitar Society, and membership and training in the Guitars Unlocked, being released in December 2021. If you do not have $10,000 to $11,000, and you could possibly find $3,500, the bare minimum would put a classroom set of guitars into your classroom. Our philosophy at Southwest Guitar is pretty straightforward. First and foremost, guitar class is fun, and it's fun for everyone. We will often stop and say, are we having fun? Are you having fun? And truly, if it's not, then we look at why. Because guitar class should be a blast. Secondly, all genres with guitars are welcome. And third, it's great for the brain and the heart. That makes it a win-win-win. Southwest High School has guitar classes that provide 3 vital components. Number 1, there's equal access. There is a class literally for every student that wants to take guitar at Southwest High School. So when a student walks in, they can be anywhere from a student with cognitive delay, some type of disability, maybe they've never seen a guitar, maybe they've never touched an instrument. Or the flip could be true. Maybe they have had private lessons all their life on the classical guitar. Regardless and anywhere in between, there is a guitar offering for you. The second component, positive cultural and social relevance during the school day. So many times my students will come into class and they're like, oh, Ms. LeMay, it's so great to be here. It's just so fun out of the rest of the day to have a place where I can be with my friends and make music and just unwind and think about something completely different. Thirdly, the increased brain development, the executive functioning, and all the amazing neurological connections. that making music does for our brain. Cultural and social relevance is crucial in every school, in every student population. What is nice about guitar education is that because of the variety of genres, we are able to connect with kids with the music that speaks to them. And if you can connect with students, their social status, gosh, it goes up right away. How many times have you thought, whoa, that person plays guitar, and all they're doing is walking down the street carrying a guitar on their back? So that your social status goes up. And with your social status comes increased self-esteem, because we all know that we see each other, we see ourselves through each other's eyes. So if you're a guitar player and people are excited about that for you, you naturally are proud and excited for yourself. Authentic relationships. People are accountable to their bandmates. And it's not just project. Authentic relationship. People are accountable to their bandmates. If you're working together on a song and you are falling behind, you have an explanation to make to your bandmates. Likewise, if you're the leader of the band, your connection to how you address and work with and coach your bandmates is authentic and honest and real and true. Songwriting is an emotional outlet. Songwriting is a way for self-expression, and perhaps you're not a songwriter, but the music that you have chosen to do a cover tune to is also self-expression. Why is that song speaking to you? Or what are the texts? What's the lyrics? What is the element within that song that is so important? Music promotes an emotional intelligence. We spend time in class learning how to relate to one another's perspectives. And we improve problem solving. There is a myriad of conflicts and oftentimes resolutions when we put bands together, especially our small bands. So all Southwest High School guitar students watch these videos every year. How Playing an Instrument Benefits Your Brain by Dr. Anita Collins. She's an Australian music educator and researcher, and she has compiled a 5-minute video that articulates in cartoon format the neurological benefits of playing an instrument. Perhaps one of the most engaging, captivating thoughts is that doing something so fun as playing an instrument increases our executive functioning, makes synapses cross hemispheres, and elevates our brain to a point that we are successful academically, socially, emotionally, in a way that we were not prior to being an instrumentalist. The second one is why music education is vital to our education system, by watching ABC's news segment on Gabby Gifford, Finding Voice Through Music Therapy. Gabby Gifford was an Arizona representative in 2011 when she was at the grocery store and experienced an assassination attempt. She took multiple bullets, one to the head, and in 2012 she needed to resign her post because of her injuries. This video, you will see the transformation and healing power of music live in time, right there. While she is learning to regain basic speech, you can see her struggle and fail to speak words that she effortlessly can sing. So Southwest High School offers 5 classes, and we meet daily for a year. We start out with beginning guitar. First off, before we even begin beginning guitar, one of the founding principles of our guitar program is that we have a foundation in music literacy. Everybody learns how to read music. So our beginning guitar program is designed for the student that has 0 experience in playing an instrument. From there, students can go into intermediate guitar. Many students come in having prior knowledge as a guitar player, reading tablature perhaps, or chording and strumming. Maybe they have experience on the piano or some other instrument, maybe perhaps a band instrument or orchestral instrument that they have decided to not continue with in high school. Intermediate guitar is considered my funnel class. We all begin at the top from many different perspectives, and after a year's time of studying, we come out at the end all musically literate on guitar education, on guitar, and are able then to choose our pathway for the classes that follow. Next is advanced guitar. It's an auditioned class where you prove your music literacy abilities, and the focus really is on modern band. So while we do play in large ensembles, primarily students are making small bands where they do any kind of genre that speaks to them. Perhaps they're songwriters, perhaps they're cover tune artists, and the collaboration is just, it's riveting, it is magnetic, it is infectious, it is perhaps my most popular class. And students are quite impressive. In fact, a number of bands have gone off and created their own side gigs and performed out in the community as well. Guitar orchestra. If you have not experienced a guitar orchestra yet, you will at the end of this video when our students demonstrate their student work. Just imagine a string orchestra, and instead of a violin or cello or viola, they all have a guitar in hand. We work primarily as a large ensemble, and again, students are in small ensembles as house parties are interested in perhaps a softer, more intimate setting with a classical guitar quartet. Finally, we have adaptive guitar. This is commonly known as the three strings, our band name. We have gone all the way to the national level and performed. This class has gained quite a bit of notoriety in the last year and a half or so. They are a group of students, they're a band of students that have a smorgasbord of disabilities, both cognitive and physical, and their musicianship is infectious. They just will bring a crowd to their feet. They're very fun. And again, you'll get to check them out at the end. All our classes work on songwriting and study composition. We, of course, must do assessment. And I believe firmly in authentic assessment. What is it for? What does it mean? What purpose does it hold for the students? So our assessments become meaningful and relevant and motivating to our student population. We have two. One informative, we call a SWIL. Show what you are learning. Students will stand up in front of the class and explain what is happening in their process as they work to prepare a song for concert. It's usually not a finished product. It is their demonstration of their steps along the way. So students may have multiple swills before we get to the most important summative time of what we call SWIC, and show what you know. So students at that point then will stand up before the class in their small bands or solo artists and demonstrate their proficiency. Minneapolis Public, I'm so proud to be from Minneapolis Public. Our superintendent, Ed Graff, has made a commitment for the school year 2021 that every fifth grader will have the opportunity to be in an instrumental program. This is beyond exciting to me. And he has also made the commitment to follow through in the years that follow so students can have subsequent music education throughout their tenure in Minneapolis Public. So when we say every student, do we really mean every student? Every student? Even our students with some type of disability, learning disability, a cognitive disability, a physical disability? As a working number, we have a disability rate in the United States somewhere between 13 and 17%. So for for working here, for purposes of working here, we will work with a 15% disability rate as an average. So when you're in class as an instructor, it is not if you have students with disabilities, it is how many students with disabilities are in our classes. And let's be honest, many of us, myself included, we were not trained in college of how to address, adapt, and modify music education for our students with disabilities. Regardless of whether we were trained or not, the expectation still remains. So our challenge, we need to educate ourselves. Our cultural systemic biases need to be formally and informally challenged. Who would have known at the time of this videotaping that we would have experienced such powerful expressions of the need for change in our systemic bias? Special education students, I would like to challenge, need to have the bar raised. They can do it. The expectations put upon them are too low, and they can do it. We need to learn how to raise those expectations and be there with support and patience and repetition and modifications to find and meet their success. We need time. We need time to collaborate with our special ed staff, with our ELL teachers, to learn how to meet the needs of students and adapt for them as they need. Ultimately, it would be wonderful if our universities reach out to help as well. So, who are we missing and why? And what do we do about it? So as we look up here at all these different words, all these diagnoses, descriptors, how many of you can see a word that brings to mind a particular student? Positive, negative, neutral? How many of us feel that we made a difference? How many of us feel that we could have done more? How many of us just let it go by? So I am challenging ourselves, myself included. I am challenging us to advocate for the right to teach everyone. That is true inclusion. So Shelley Moore, perhaps you know, perhaps you have heard of her. Shelley Moore has this fantastic series on YouTube called 5 More Minutes. And Shelley Moore will spend a handful of minutes with you talking about inclusion and equal access and equity regarding education. This is a model from her. So we begin back at exclusion. Depending upon your age, I know when I was a child in the 60s that exclusion was by far and above the model. So those neurotypical students were in here. We were all in the green circle. And anybody that was neurodiverse wasn't with us. I don't know where they were. Perhaps they were at home. Perhaps it was never explained to us. Then we thought, gosh, we should have a place for those students to interact, to learn what they were able to learn. And we segregated them. We put them in a place by themselves where they could get what they needed and we would not be interacting. I call this separate but equal. We've been there. We know it doesn't work. And then by the time I was a student teacher, we had gotten to integration. Those students should be in our buildings. Those students. How about just students should be in our building? So I remember distinctly that students with disabilities were were kept down a hallway, and we were not to go there. Even as a student teacher, I was not permitted to inquire what was down that hallway. I was to stay where the students that were mainstream and neurotypical were. Finally, she draws integration into inclusion. Really, truly, we should just welcome everybody all into our classrooms. It is just fine. We should all be together, and that is the best, to have full inclusion. Well, Shelley Moore was reached out to by one of her followers and challenged her with the following model. So, challenging inclusion to move into equal access for all. That really inclusion, we're not all the same. Neurotypical or neurodiverse, we're not all the same. We need different things. So we need to move from inclusion to equal access for all. And look, in this circle, we're not all little circles. We're not just green or yellow or red. We have many shapes and sizes, many colors, many differences. And truly what unites us and gives us value and purpose and meaning is that each one of us must have a role, we must have responsibilities, and we must have peers. So what are some of the adaptations I've made to music literacy? Because students with significant cognitive disabilities need substantial adaptations to traditional music notation in order to enjoy and be successful at making music alone and together. Traditional music reading is beyond what some of my students are able to happily enjoy. So I created a different one. So Guitars Unlocked is a newly developed language designed to meet the needs of musicians needing an alternative approach to understanding and playing music. Guitars Unlocked will be released next summer, 2021. But until we get there, let's take a look at what some of the key elements are in Guitars Unlocked methodology. There's adaptations to our instruments, to our instruction, to the music itself, and to the instructional pacing. The building blocks of Guitars Unlocked is rooted in color. Our lead guitar, our bass guitar, many different colors. This is a wall where our guitars hang while students are away at class. And then this is our music. So we call these songboards. And we have shapes that have purpose. Our text brings us meaning. We have number patterns combined with color. All of those things give us music literacy. Believe it or not, as you look at red triangles and lines connected together, that might have no value or purpose musically for you as a musician or as a non-musician. But for my students in my adaptive music program, this is their music literacy and this is reading music for them. So you might be thinking, gosh, I would love to hear what some of her students sound like. So I would like to give you a snapshot of our Southwest High School guitar program. You will see some beginners, some intermediates, some advanced students in bands, our guitar orchestra playing in one of our finest settings. It's an absolute pleasure to play in the Basilica of St. Mary's. And then you will see our 3-strings adaptive group performing their rock tunes that they do so well.
There's a guy inside, pushing everything that's been kept inside. I'm locked in a cell. I'm so sick of being the bad guy. Someone come stop me before I start to lose my mind. Sometimes I lay in bed all alone. Later on, I don't have anyone on the phone, but sometimes I really need someone. By myself, I never get to have any fun. I've been sitting here for 17 days. Everybody wants to stay away. Around. I'm walking on sunshine. Wow. I'm walking on sunshine. Wow.
This is a song I wrote called El Fuego.
Darling, don't you dare come here. Baby, let me hold you. Don't you cry, keep you close to me tonight. Baby, life ain't fair, but don't act like you don't even care. If it's too much, I'll be there. The burden we will share. I wanna hold you, keep you from despair. Run my fingers through your hair. We can go anywhere. Ooh.
So I hope you have enjoyed your time with my students. I know I do, and I have to willingly admit that I miss them. I miss them a lot. But I am glad that they are safe, and myself as well, and hope you are too. I encourage you to consider a guitar education program at your school. And if you have any questions or comments, you'd like to give me some feedback, anything you'd like to express, please contact me at my email, ruth.lemay@mpls.k12.mn.us. Check my website out at swhsguitar.weebly.com. Together, I really believe we can do better for all.